What's going on, everyone? Jack here from Half Chrome, and this is the LYZRC L200 Pro Max. And it's actually a really interesting drone. People are saying, Jack, you need to review it. This is the best drone under $100. It has a 2-axis gimbal. It shoots 2.7K video. It's stabilized. We've got brushless motors, GPS, return to home, all sorts of goodies. Yeah, for less than $100. Is this the best drone for under $100? Well, it's a pretty good case for it. Stay tuned. We'll get into it. So finally, I just broke down and ordered one of these things from Banggood myself. It was 99 bucks. You can get one with a obstacle avoidance module, but I opted not for it. I'm not a big fan of the add-on obstacle avoidance modules. They're not really obstacle avoidance, so they will sense and then just stop you in the middle of the air and you can't fly. I wouldn't recommend it. It's 15 bucks if you want to give it a shot, but not something that I think is worth the additional 15 bucks. I would opt for the 2 battery package, which is another $15 as well, and just go with that. Now this tiny little drone is 216 grams, and that's a big deal because if it's less than 250, you do not have to register this thing with FAA, and it is not subject to remote ID. 2 big check marks for a lot of people. Now a lot of people say this is the best drone for under 100 bucks, and it's a pretty decent argument. It's hard to find a drone with brushless motors, right? This is a brushless motor. It's gonna be a lot more efficient than a motor like this. This is a brush motor. This will wear out over time. These are just a lot more efficient and a lot more durable. They also are a little bit more expensive, which is why you don't see them on a lot of drones in this price range. This drone also has GPS, which means it's going to be a little bit more stable, which means you can do the return to home. It has waypoints. You can do circle features. You can do a follow me. There are a lot of different flight modes that this thing has, and having GPS helps make it a little bit more stable. Now, I would definitely recommend calibrating this before you fly, and that'll just help the GPS just be a little bit more precise. It also folds up, so it's nice and compact. You even get a carrying case to go along with it, a nice place to store your drone, an extra battery, and the remote. And all those things are well and good, but it's actually the camera that makes this thing the best drone you can get for under $100. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and agree that I think this is the best drone you can get for $100. If your goal is videography and photography, you know, it's not professional grade, but it's pretty darn good. The camera here does a pretty good job. Now it is a 2-axis gimbal. They say it's electronic image stabilization. Also, I'm not 100% certain that it is, but it doesn't matter. It does a good enough job, and the camera is solid. This is the closest thing you can get to a real camera drone that professionals will use for less than $100. It's semi-stable. It has an active gimbal, and it has a decent camera. So here we have some of the video coming out of the drone. It records at 2560 by 1440, or basically a lot of people call that 2.K. The photos will come in at 4K resolution at 3840 by 2160. Now this drone isn't perfect. I've mentioned a few of its flaws already, but you know, we have some rise and tilt at higher elevations. We get some waves and some flutters. It does tend to pivot a little bit in the air. Right there, that pivot, that wasn't me. It just kind of did that. I'm not exactly sure why. And then here again at higher elevation, as I'm lowering, you can kind of see some of that shakes. But, you know, it's good. These are some pictures. I do really like the pictures coming out of this drone. It is great for a beginner. You know, you get 20 minutes on one of these batteries, and you can get up there and take some decent pictures and video with this, and kind of learn how to fly and practice without breaking the bank. This is a great place to start if you're looking to get into videography. Now, at $100, I used to recommend this. This is the Ryze Tello, and it's a vastly different drone. You can see it's much smaller. It doesn't have a camera on a gimbal, but it is super stable. It has these sensors on the bottom. You can program it. I'll get into, you know what, I think I'll do a video comparing this versus that, but this one's great if you want to fly indoors, if you want to do some programming, and light flights outside. But with the L200 here, you can really practice some of those camera moves, the up and away, the manual orbits and things like that. Make it just a really good drone for a beginner. Now I think in time you'll want to upgrade, and I'll talk about some of those options later on. This is a remote control that you get with the drone. There's an additional piece here that goes on top where you can put your phone. I actually found that I was able to put my phone in the bottom right here, so I didn't have to use that clip. Power button's up in the top. This is your return to home button right here. That's super important. You got your GPS, your takeoff, and I believe this is your calibration button. Up here on the top, your speed mode. I highly recommend flying in high speed. Just makes the drone a little bit more responsive. Tap the button here to take a picture, hold it down to start a video. And you also have your gimbal dial here to move the gimbal up and down. Now you can actually control a lot of those things like taking pictures and videos on the app, and I suggest you do so. It's a free app, easy to download, and it's pretty darn intuitive. That's also where you're gonna access all the different flight modes. So while I really do like this drone as a drone to get started for $100, it is not without some shortcomings. It does tend to drift a little bit. It is not incredibly stable, and I wouldn't expect that from a $100 drone. So they say the range on this is 3,000 meters with the video feed at 1,200 meters. I think both of those numbers are probably pushing it just a little bit, and you'll find that you're not gonna wanna fly that far away. Anyway, the good news is the radio link, your control of the drone will always outlast your video signal, so you can still control the drone even if you lose video signal. If that happens, hit that return button and bring this thing home. Then once you can see it, take control of the drone again and then land it yourself. The return to home works. I tried it. It's not 100% accurate. It was probably within 10 feet each time that I did that, but I generally think it's smarter to land the drone yourself. So you've been watching a little Follow Me video. You can see that I can control the drone and kind of move it around as it's flying, which is kind of a nice feature. Also, they say you get 23 to 25 minutes of flight time per battery. It's actually going to be closer to, 18 to 20. Now, durability, we got to talk about that. I have two of these things. I crashed them both. Yeah, I know. And neither of them work 100% like they used to after the crash. I didn't think either crash was terribly big. They were both my fault. Kind of doing some close maneuvers to trees or poles, trees and poles. And yes, I clipped both of them. Mostly my fault, but also partially because this drone does tend to drift a little bit. It's not quite as precise as some of those other camera drones that I'm used to. So yes, it was my fault, but one of them, the camera just always points up, and the other one, I just don't get good reception like I used to. So just kind of note, these things are not meant to be crashed, and they're not incredibly durable. Now at $100, it's fine, it's good, it's a great $100 drone, but that begs the question, what if I could spend a little bit more? At just under $200, you get the CFLY Faith Mini 1. It has a better camera, or if you want a really improved camera, just over $200, you get the CFLY Faith Mini 2. Now again, neither of those are professional grade drones, but they are a small step above the L200. When you get closer to $300, that's when the cameras get really good and these drones get rock solid, steady. I'd recommend either the Mini 4K from DJI or the Specta Mini, which is actually the same exact drone, for about $290. You save about $10 getting Specta versus DJI, but that is Android only. It's supposed to be iOS, all that stuff, other videos. But at $300, that's when the drones really start to get good, at least in the mini side of things. They're going to be small drones, and again, there's some serious advantages to that with them not having to be registered with the FAA. And then there's this guy, the DJI Mini 4 Pro, totally different class of drone. This thing is awesome, but it's also incredibly expensive. Then I do have some other professional grade drones over here, but I don't think that's what you came to watch, right? You're looking for a drone for $100, and yes, this guy here, this little mini L200, it's a beast for $100. Actually, there's an Amazon seller reselling this thing for like close to $200, and you know what? At $200, there isn't really much that's better than this. Yeah, this CFLY Faith Mini 1, it's better than this, but not a ton, really. Now, if you want to buy one of these things, you got to buy it from Banggood. And if you haven't heard Banggood before, it's basically like Chinese Amazon. Shipping takes a whole lot longer, and customer service isn't quite up to Amazon standards, but it's decent, and definitely a place that I bought plenty of things from. It is reputable, and if you want one of these things, that's where you're going to have to go. Or you can go to AliExpress, but I would not do that. Banggood is definitely a step above them. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Good luck, everyone, and happy flying.